Hello and welcome to this month's installment from the MBA Student Association. Today we have a great panel planned for you all. As always, the mission doesn't change. We're here to build networks and build careers. Before we get started, I encourage everyone to tune in to our other recordings on the YouTube channel. Also, I encourage you to participate in the GroupMe, the audio book club, and any other engagement activity that we put out. Without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our treasurer, Jamie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Dietrich. I'm the treasurer for the MBA Student Association. We're excited to have Dustin Gersh and Wyatt Powell here to share their expertise in the field of wealth management. So let's get started. Dustin, would you like to tell us a bit about your background and describe what a typical day is like for you?
Well, I got my degree in banking and finance from Sam Houston State back in 2006. Then I have been a financial advisor, working with individuals, started with Edward Jones, and then have switched over to Ameriprise. And my typical day is calling clients, asking them what other needs they have, reviewing accounts, pointing out either opportunities or blind spots with their investments or tax laws changing or anything going on. So I am a very relationship person. And so again, most of the time during the day, I'm talking to people, either talking to current clients or trying to talk to new people and build a relationship and see if there's anything I can help them with.
Awesome. And Wyatt, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so my name is Wyatt Powell. I graduated from Sam Houston not too long ago, back in 2015. I am what I like to call a fourth generation Bearcat. You know, both my parents went to Sam. My grandma's brother went to Sam and his dad went to Sam. So I call it a fourth generation Bearcat. My brother also graduated from Sam Houston. Upon graduation, after playing baseball there for 4 years, I started a career down in Houston at Goldman Sachs and Company, specifically in the private wealth management division. And I've been there for almost 6 years now. I basically hold a title of wealth management professional. And what I do on a day-to-day basis is I help service and serve our clients, which are ultra high net worth clients and institutions, and help them, meet their goals. And I primarily work, on service type activities. So, I wake up, get to the office, make sure all the accounts are in order. If clients are looking to wire monies to, buy a house, or if they need to make a trade or anything like that, kind of operational based needs, if they need to open up accounts, I kind of handle all that. So I've been doing that for 6 years and I absolutely love it.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for your introductions. We're going to kick this off with a little bit of advice for our students. So first question, Wyatt, I'll start this off with you, and then Dustin, you can follow up. What are skills that our students should seek to acquire if they are interested in pursuing wealth management as a profession?
So I will say one of the biggest keys that's very important is really honing in on your communication skills. I had the pleasure of working at a local attorney in Huntsville as a clerk during my senior year at Sam Houston. And so I learned really fast how to kind of answer and screen phone calls and talk with people who were calling in, looking to potentially look for people to sue. And so luckily during my senior year at Sam, I was able to pick up on just general phone communication skills, talking with people, understanding, what they're trying to do. And, if we need to get the attorneys informed about the situation, or if I need to kind of screen them out of there because, it's not something that we could help them out with. So I really really working on your communication skills, working on talking on the phone, sounding as clear as possible, because, I'm sure Dustin's the same way. I've got clients of all different age ranges. And so it's very important to be able to speak, to everybody in a clear way where everybody can understand you. Another thing I'll say that's very important is being organized. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's very important to find something, some system for you that really works. Because I'll be, example for me, I may be working on a wire for a client, and I may have a client call in to make a trade. So I got to make sure I don't forget to do the wire. All along the same time, right after I get off the phone call with the client, somebody calls in and wants to just talk about the markets and such. And so I got to remember I have to go back and finish the wire, which is a very important task. So staying organized, whether it be, certain, setting up your Outlook in a certain way, or setting up, a planner, or whatever works for you. You just got to find a way to be organized to where you're not letting things kind of fall through the cracks. And the last thing I'll really say, I guess, is refining your, using your time right now in school to refine your skills in Excel. I don't live in Excel necessarily, but I spend enough time in Excel where any kind of shortcuts you learn in school, trying to refine those type of skills, it just saves a lot of time. If I could save 2 or 3 seconds each time I need to delete a row or delete a column, or, copy paste, all those types of things. And then obviously going on to more advanced Excel skills, but, all of those things add up to greater efficiency over time. So I would say yes, especially in our business, trying to master Excel is very helpful.
Great advice. I appreciate that. Dustin, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think if somebody wants to get in the financial, and that's a very broad, term, because, why didn't I do 2 different things? It takes a team, it takes a whole group of people to run a business. And so, depending on what role or what you want to be, I think, like he said, kind of honing your skills. So, if you want to be more, if you are more analytical, if you're more organized, kind of that back office management structure might be your wheelhouse. If you enjoy talking to people, if you enjoy flexibility, if you enjoy, it's a blessing and a curse with everything. Then there's always got to be somebody out selling. There's always got to be somebody out in front of new clients or current clients, retaining business and growing business. But for anybody in college right now, or anybody in the MBA right now that's watching this, it's networking. Kind of hone your skill of what you want to do, and then network or reach out to people that are in the field, and maybe they're not, and maybe it's just, I think one of the things I've been lucky at is just calling people and just being genuine and honest and saying, hey, this is what I want to do. I was given your name or number. Don't know if you're the right person, but I know that I want to help people with their IRAs or retirement planning or wealth planning or insurance needs or taxes or being an attorney, whatever you want to be. It's, I think, at this point in the stage of a career or school to build a career, is just being able to network with people, know what you want to do, and then kind of network with people in that area. You don't have to hit the nail right on the head, but as long as you're hitting the right board, you'll get close to it.
So it sounds like both of you during school did a little bit of work in one manner or another. I think, Dustin, at one point you told me you maybe did an internship or something. Is that correct?
I did a couple internships at First National Bank of Huntsville and First National Bank of Trinity.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. And I know, Wyatt, you were just saying something as well. So is there any advice that you wish you would have received as a student before entering into your profession?
I'll start this one. So really building off what Dustin mentioned, I cannot stress enough how important networking is, especially in just looking, finding ways to find a job. I strongly encourage you all now to, be digging through LinkedIn, looking for other Sam Houston alumni in the field that you're looking for. Message them. The more lines you have in the water, the better chance you have at being successful. And that is just crucial. Trying to, maybe you want to be a real estate agent, looking for any Sam Houston real estate agent that you can find, and just messaging them. And like Dustin was mentioning, be open and honest. And you'd be surprised how helpful the Sam Houston Alumni Network is. Really to, build our brand as a school. We want to have more successful professionals in the industry, and the more successful professionals we have in the industry, the better our school looks, and the better talent we can attract at SAM. So I really am a big proponent on just networking as much as possible. And alongside that is you really need to apply super early. And even if you're applying too early to jobs, that's okay. I know a lot of jobs in the financial industry, you're often having to apply for an internship a year before that summer internship, which is a year before your graduation. So if you're looking at graduating with your MBA and, let's call it 2023, here, by the end of the summer of 2021, going into fall of 2021, you really want to be applying for internships for the summer of 2022, because once you have that internship in the summer of 2022, hopefully the place that you interned at, if you like it enough, you can receive a return offer, and then you'll have the full-time offer whenever you graduate in 2023. So, I cannot stress applying early enough. I think that's, networking and applying early is really important.
Great. Dustin, did you want to add anything?
No, whatever your focus is in college or in school, I think go to those department heads because they have a lot of connections. I know when I was in the banking and finance, the dean, I guess, of my school had a ton of connections. And so it helps to just use the resources that are there on campus or there at SAM to leverage it. And again, just like everything, they're all introductions. They're either pointing you in that direction or an introduction. So it's kind of, again, having the ability to focus and follow up and stuff like that.
Great. So Wyatt, I'm going to direct this next one at you first, but are there any professional development opportunities that you seek out to stay informed and up to date with the latest trends and strategies in the field?
Yeah, so, really nothing that complicated. We always have CNBC on in the office. So I just, I'm always glancing up at the TV, kind of keeping updating with what's going on in the markets, what I call the talking heads are saying about, talking about at the time. And so that kind of keeps me updated. I'm constantly kind of looking at the Wall Street Journal, staying informed through there. I'm not sure if SAM pays for subscriptions there or not, but I highly recommend, staying informed like that. And then also at Goldman, we have several groups that constantly are putting out, research pieces and information on, what the latest trends are. So that's kind of how I stay updated.
Great. And Dustin, I know we kind of identified that you and Wyatt are same but different. So is there anything different that you recommend or that you do to stay up to date?
So I guess it's a double-edged sword. CNBC is the app that I have on my phone that I look at, every day. But I think from a professional growth, there's a lot of continuing education. There's a lot of designations. There's like an alphabet soup of designations out there. And so depending on what you want to focus on, in my belief is, a lot of the stuff that we're doing today is, 40, 50, 60 years old. The CNBC stuff, the stuff that's going on day to day, I think is great news and information. But the fundamentals of financial planning, investing, and Wyatt probably agree with me on this one. A lot of that stuff is, was developed 50, 60 plus years ago. So, I do watch the talking heads, but at the same time, they're talking about stuff for the next 24 hours or less, and then it's something else. So I don't pay too much attention to it. It's important to have conversations with clients about, but going back to the fundamentals, the real stuff that you study in school that you can study, I'm a certified financial planner, the designations you can study for, continuing education. Those are things that can help you hone in the why. And the news is just, I think it's just water cooler talk. That's just my opinion.
You always have the best expressions. Water cooler talk. So you guys have both given a lot of advice already, but if right now you were speaking to students instead of on Zoom with me, what would you have to say? Is there anything specific that you would particularly like to share? Either one can go first.
Yeah. I would say, so when I was at SAM my senior year, I interned or I applied with Edward Jones and didn't get the job right away. And through a family friend of a friend, I got a phone number to an Edward Jones advisor, and I called him up, and I didn't know at the time he was the number 5 producer out of 10,000 advisors in the country. And he was here in Texas. And basically what he told me was to go sell cars, go sell books, go sell something for 3 to 5 years and then come back. So, if you have sales in your blood, if you've been doing it, if you've been rejected, I mean, I think that's the hardest part is in this field. I mean, I grew my business from 0 to where it's at today. It's just, I think you have to be comfortable with no. And if you're emotionally not at that point right now, or you need stability, then there's different ways to get your feet wet and kind of roll into it and then grow into it. So that's my opinion. Everything I do is the hard way. So maybe, it's definitely, I think if I was looking at somebody, it's like, again, I go back to know what you want. And I know at 20 something years old, 30 years old, whatever. I mean, hell, I'm 37. I kind of know what I want. But kind of somewhat tighten that up and then understand it's going to be tough, and if you want to do sales and start selling something, get a side hobby, understand how salespeople call you. But that's again, I'm in the sales side of it, so that's all I'm going to talk about. So again, it just depends on what you want as an individual and kind of what's going to help you get up every day and be happy.
Yeah, I'll say I definitely wish we were in person right now and not on Zoom. I definitely have reached max Zoom fatigue as possible. I'm part of the recruiting team, at Goldman as well. And so I speak to students all the time in person, and obviously haven't been able to do that in the past year. And I'm really missing the opportunity, especially after discussions, being able to, take one-off questions and, hey, I'm thinking about this and that. And so I'm missing that. And so, but all that kind of boils into the fact that, hopefully, we can get this pandemic behind us and we can get back to truly interpersonally connecting with people in person. I mean, face to face. We're really missing out on a lot of true growth, especially in our younger, our younger colleagues. And obviously, everyone has the various circumstances as to why they have to remain at home and through COVID. But it's not. I wish I could be hugging on people and joking and talking to them and helping train these younger individuals at Goldman. So I'd say that there really is no replication to in-person, elbow to elbow learning through osmosis and through direct training of somebody. So, as soon as, everybody opens back up and we can start seeing in person, I really would, be a big advocate of, especially young in your career, looking for some place that you can truly learn from somebody shoulder to shoulder with them and, try to, grow your abilities and your brand through that way.
I think that is a perfect transition into the next couple of questions. So let's talk a little bit about COVID and the financial world. So our first question is, over the past year, did your role ever switch from a long-term focus to more of a crisis management focus? And if so, has the focus switched back yet to a long-term focus? Wyatt, do you want to go first? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dustin.
I'll let Dustin go. I probably got a bunch of phone calls.
Yeah. No. So I guess before 2020, I said I've got about 140 clients. And by the end of 2019, I had every single client with a financial plan. And what I've noticed, I've done this for 13 years, and what I've noticed by implementing a plan, a documented plan that sets expectations for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years out, it changes the dynamics of the conversation. If we go back through 2020, January, then February, and then it just shit started rolling downhill. And, March 13th is when the president kind of did the lockdown. And I had one out of my 140 clients or families, I had one client that said that they wanted to sell out. My older clients that were 50, 60, 70 years old were saying, hey, isn't now a good time to invest? So I think that depends on the financial advisor. I'm very plan oriented, goal oriented, kind of what's our goal? What are we trying to accomplish? And so I think because I implemented that ahead of time, the conversations were significantly different than if I would have like an investment only or rate of return only advisor. So I think just how you position your relationship with the clients, position your education with the clients, and expectations. It definitely, I mean, yeah, it was, I didn't get as many phone calls as I think people would think. But a lot of it was because they had a plan. They knew they'd been through it before. So even though it wasn't a virus, they've been through a 35% drop before, if not more so.
Yeah, I will say for us, I mean, we kind of similar to Dustin, we really didn't have any of our, many, or I can't really think off the top of my head, any of our clients calling in and panic selling. Similar to Dustin, we are, have the long established relationship with these clients and have, built these plans out to where, they're hopefully, the portfolios are prepared, through proper diversification to, weather, significant market corrections. However, what we're not necessarily all planned for is when, we all get sent home while trying to run a multi-billion-dollar business and doing big trades on a laptop during some of the highest trading volumes of the of the year and of all time. So that right there is whenever I had to kind of turn into a short-term focus, working longer hours, but trying to do things on a laptop. And I don't know if y'all remember, but back around March 13th, it was almost impossible to go get a big computer screen because of the demand of them was so high. So everyone's got their own specific issues you're dealing with while trying to do trades of clients looking to buy into the weakness and such. So I will say, most of our clients, we focus on maintaining the long-term focus, but we did have, many clients looking to take advantage of the correction and take advantage of some of the pullback in order to, potentially buy at a lower entry point. So we had to kind of, grind to a short-term focus, crisis, take care of everybody, all the trades at once. And, luckily we were able to get through it because we had actually done a lot of preparation on the front end for working from home. So yes, while, COVID did kind of transition me to short-term focus for a short-term amount of time. We always keep our clients, long-term investment needs and, risk appetites in mind. And so, in the run, we were still able to maintain our long-term focus for our clients.
Well, Wyatt, you spoke of a few challenges there. And our next question is, what were unexpected challenges and benefits of remote work with finance teams? So I'm going to let you keep elaborating on that. And then Dustin, if you want to chime in after.
Yep. So I'd say some of the biggest challenges were really, I would say communication, probably the first one, primarily because when you're in the office where I work, I'm basically on a flat desk where I can see everybody's face. There's no cubicles. It's a trading floor. So I can just look to my right and say, hey, have you done this? Or, hey, can you look at this? And, you really lose that when you're working from Zoom or you're working remotely because I gotta ping somebody or I call them and they don't answer because I don't know, I can't see it, but they're on the phone with somebody else, or I can't see it. They're, up going to the restroom or whatever it may be. So, something that may take 10 seconds when I'm in the office, it could take 5 to 20 minutes when you're remote. So that was kind of a challenge. Also, since this happened through the summer, we brought on our newest, hires through the summer. And so, obviously training people and collaborating with, new hires is a little more difficult remote. So that, that comes with its challenges, but, we've been working through that. And as we slowly return to office, we're ramping up, training our latest hires. And obviously, speaking for myself, I got a new puppy during March, so that's a major distraction. I think Dustin's got some children. So, when I'm in the office, the only distractions are work distractions. So I can, kind of wire in, whereas around the home, I'm a little more distracted. So, but but so now that we've been back in the office now for about a month or two. And so it's been great, obviously missing the dog and, missing hanging out with the wife a little extra, but, it's been great to, minimize my distractions and being able to, put out what I would say probably a little bit, more focused work product.
Yeah. And I'll add to that, and I'll take it from a different direction. I think one of the biggest silver linings, trying to think of the positive out of it, it's technology. I mean, heck, I've got a TV screen. I'm still at home, but I've got a TV screen in front of me, 2 laptops in front of me. I have my cell phone. And so from a customer interface, it's been super, I think, efficient. Trying to do Zoom or Teams meetings with 50, 60, 70-year-old people. Some of them get it, some don't. But I think going forward, I think that's going to shift my business model of how I work with clients and meet with clients. And I'm in a small town of 5,000 people. So getting across town takes 5 minutes. If I was in Houston or Austin, getting across town might take 30 minutes just one way. So I think going forward, majority of my meetings and communication with clients are either going to be via email and like summary letters, or Zoom meetings or Teams meetings, to where they can see me they can sit on their couch, they can do whatever. I can pull up their statements. It's very efficient. It's very transparent. They don't have to lose time driving to my office or me driving to their house. So, there were challenges with just communication. But, for the most part, I think with like CRM, tools and email and text and, what we can legally do or whatever in the finance world, I think there's more documentation. So if you messed up, it was like, hey, either I didn't email you, or I emailed you, or I put it in CRM as a task and you didn't do it. So there was kind of some accountability and documentation, and that accountability sometimes can light a fire under someone's butt. So no, I took the silver lining out of it. So I think it'll be good going forward.
Great. Well, Dustin, this next question mostly probably pertains to you. Wyatt, obviously feel free to add in if you have anything that you want to comment on, but I can't remember if we mentioned it or not, but Dustin's also an entrepreneur. He has his own seasoning business, and so he runs that as well as a wealth management professional. So, well, Dustin, how important is it to have the finance department in on supply chain conversations?
So it takes money to buy materials, or it takes negotiation ahead of time to build up the lines of credit, the terms to pay, to buy a product, get it made, and maybe that's 30 days to get it made, and then you get it in 30 days, and then once you get it, you have another 30 days to pay it. And so having your books, and I'm talking from a small business owner, right? But I think if you were a bigger company and you had the finance department knowing, hey, here's what our money's coming in, here's what money's going out, here's what we can afford, what's the time frame, and trying to play that game of using your money wisely. I would say last year, it really didn't matter. I'm not saying it didn't matter. I guess let me put it this way. So last year, everything got so bad, you like to buy lids for just lids. Like, so if you have seasoning in your pantry, go open up those little lids that were on your seasoning, have a 26-week back order. And so when someone told me that, I was like, 26 weeks, wait, that's half a year. And so, it's stuff, everything shifted with COVID, from plastic factories to glass factories to, you're hearing on the news with microchips, with, I think, semiconductors. COVID, the resources that we use for everything we touch every day was just wreaked havoc. 18-wheelers almost stopped moving last year, which is a horrible sign. So COVID was just a really crazy time. One thing that I do as a business owner, I think this doesn't matter how smart you are or anything, and still trying to stay on topic, having the finance department and having the money to get the product is one thing. But then I think it's the communication, like, we're in Walmart, we're in Sprouts, we're in HEB, we're a national product. And so communication, planning ahead, making sure you have enough inventory, coming out of this, we smell like roses because we were able to fulfill the orders. We were able to pay our vendors. We were able to have a good line of credit. So juggling all that stuff as a one person, or I've got 4 people on my team, but I handle all the finances and ordering. So as me juggling everything was hard. I think if you have a team, it's always going to be about communication, expectations, and then you cannot communicate enough. And so that's probably a ramble on what you asked, but there's so much more that goes. There's so much, especially with last year. There's so much that goes with it. In a normal year, it should be pretty balanced with accounting and procurement. I mean, those two should go hand in hand. But there's a lot of data and there's a lot of information that goes into it.
Well, I think it's great, hearing these challenges, because hopefully we never experience anything like COVID again. But you think about all the challenges, that we faced over the past year and that we're still facing, and, how we got through them and ways we could have done it better and all of that. So I think it's really important with you guys sharing this. And I wanted to ask real quick, Wyatt, did you have anything you wanted to add to that, or you want to move on?
I think he covered it. That was very good.
Awesome. Well, our next question is about AI and automation. And I don't know about you guys, but it seems like every time I read an article, there's something about AI right now, and it's just growing and growing. So we want to ask, what impact has AI and automation had on your field since your start? And what other areas do you expect to see AI change considerably in the future? Wyatt, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. So, in my role, more in the service side, automation has been, making my job so much easier over the past, since the past 6 years where I've started, things, like clients requesting wires or making large stock gifts, to foundations on behalf of our clients, things that used to take me maybe 2 or 3 hours to do due to, selecting individual items over and over and over again. As we become more automated, that thing only takes me 15 minutes now, which is just incredible time savings. And I'm able to then, divert my focus that I was spending on 2 hours doing one thing and maybe devoting it to more of a commercial thought process and helping out my advisors and such. So, automation is just, it's come a long way in the past 5 or 6 years. And then I'd say, on the side of AI, you're just seeing more and more, systematic investing, through, setting up an asset allocation and then just, putting your money into a product where it is just automatically investing as you put the money in and rebalancing automatically, which is at a very low cost, which is, something that I think is very interesting. And I think we're just going to see continually more and more, AI throughout our business. And I'm sure, Dustin experiences a lot of this type of stuff whenever he's, talking to his clients. So I'll let Dustin kind of expound on that.
Yeah, I think, one of the biggest things that I've noticed, and it's kind of a, I guess, double-edged sword. So like with automation and compliance and all the rules that we have to follow, my job, and that's what in my role is, which I think any firm's doing now, is my job is to be the caretaker, right? To make sure that I'm asking the questions, I'm doing the due diligence to make sure that the clients, do they have the right investment mix based on their needs? Do they have life insurance? Do they have a CPA with doing their taxes? Are there any opportunities to reduce that? That's my job. My job is to basically have a relationship, talk to people, and handhold. Behind the scenes, when it comes to investing, a lot of that is like Wyatt said, it's kind of, what is your risk tolerance? Where do you want to be? And then, that's kind of how you invest. I take it a step further, I guess, and kind of go to, if everybody's heard the tax that they're trying to implement. I think Bernie Sanders, not to get political here, anyways, Bernie Sanders talking about the tax on trading. There's 2 different styles, I guess, investing, qualitative and quantitative. And so that AI investing is more data driven. It's based on numbers. They don't give a damn if Apple comes out with a new phone. They don't care. They don't care if There's a new company out called Loan Depot. Not Loan Depot, Lemonade. Lemonade's an insurance company. I mean, they have over 1 million customers in the first year, and it took USA like 30 years to do it. So there's so much new stuff coming out that you're like, oh, that's cool. I see how people use that product. But with AI and trading, they don't give a damn about what the company is, right? It's all about data. It's what are their ratios, what are their risks, what are their returns, what are their whatever. And so I after doing this for 13 years and seeing people that have had investments for 20, 30 years, 40 years, the old fashioned buy and hold and buy quality and not just forget about it, right? But just buying quality investments. Some of my wealthiest clients are people that just added $100 or $200 a month to a boring mutual fund and now have several $1 million just because of doing that. So I think AI fits certain either maybe people's investors' profiles, maybe what they look for, maybe that's the shiny object to them. But it works and doesn't work. It just depends on, I think it depends on your perspective.
Well, guys, we have finally come to our very last question. So how has the emergence of retail traders changed large investors' strategies? Wyatt, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll say, so I was actually reading about this, I guess last week or so. I think I read, I think retail traders make up about 20% of the stock market. So, I mean, that's a real portion of the daily, or of all the liquidity out there. And I would guess a lot of that is tied up in 401ks and such. But I mean, you're talking about, real, movement that can happen when that 20% gets behind, certain stocks. Obviously, we all saw the GameStop, popping and, continuing to do that again here over the past few days. And, with all the other Reddit stocks, as they're calling them. So, I mean, you're seeing that this, that the retail investor and trader, they do carry a lot of weight or enough weight to make at least some, some stocks, and change the values on them a lot. So they do make up a significant portion of the market. So, they can significantly impact prices. Now, I will say that, as much as as a retail trader can do on a day-to-day basis, large institutional investors just have access to just so much more data and so much more, I would say, information than the retail investor. So it's always going to be kind of, I guess, they're just not going to have as much access. And so you may not know as much, not necessarily, it's not inside information or anything. You're just not going to have the systems, the Bloomberg terminals that people are paying thousands of dollars a year for. So, I mean, it's definitely a real player in the market.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just to kind of piggyback off that, I kind of agree and disagree. I agree that there's some power there, but I think I look at it like a power washer, right? It's very narrow and focused. I mean, if you look at what Reddit's done and kind of the people that have thrown money, I mean, it's on one stock. I mean, there's I don't even know, there's 10, 30, 40,000 stocks out there. So, I think for one thing, they focus again. I wouldn't piss off the people. I wouldn't piss off Robinhood if I was any big company. I mean, so hopefully they learn something through that. But I think the biggest thing that like retail investors will learn is, that they need guidance. And so I think, where the future of my job as working with people is going is maybe not investing, because you can invest on Robinhood, you can invest on E-Trade, you can invest on your phone, whatever, right? I think having somebody, if it's a personal trainer, to help you lose weight or exercise, right? I'm going to look at financial advisors in the future should be going towards more of a subscription model or a planning model. Is like, hey, we're your CFO. We can help you put all this information together. We can give you recommendations. And, there's always a sleeve of money. Hopefully, I mean, not for everybody, but for some people, there's a sleeve of money where that GameStop purchase is probably fine. But when all you have is $10,000 in your savings account and you put all that on GameStop and you buy it at $300 or whatever it was a share, yeah, then you go broke. So I think, like what I was saying, like information, education, experience are a lot of things that the larger investors would have over the retail investors. But again, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Wyatt, did you have something to add? I saw you over there going, no.
No. I was agreeing with them. You've got, like you said, just, I'm sure Dustin establishes how much risk clients are willing to take in their portfolio. And, I can't imagine, any of his, older clients are looking to put 100% of their retirement into a super volatile stock like that. So, looking at, like you said, you don't want to take all 10,000 of your savings and put it into the most volatile, thing we've seen all year long. So completely agree. Certain allocation of your portfolio can be, put into more speculative investing as long as it's measured appropriately and as long as, you're not, overdoing it.
Sure. I'm gonna jump in here and cut it. Just want to thank you both for your insights and advice. This was a great discussion. I really enjoyed it. A lot of takeaways, actually. As always, thanks to Jamie, excellent moderation skills. And the MBASA is still committed to building networks and building careers. So to wrap it up, I want to remind all of our students to, first off, join the MBA Student Association Instagram, join our group meeting, check out our engagement activities, and most importantly, don't be afraid to reach out to your colleagues and the alumni network to build your own network. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next one.